important than selling sets because as long as you teach them dropping down, like they're going to sell sets, but sell sets if they're too nervous to even set the price of the homemaker.
Right. Okay.
So you think about it like if you're not popping the fear bubbles surrounding like intro talks all about popping fear bubbles surrounding they themselves being able to do something different and interesting and cool. The value talk is all about popping fear bubbles surrounding Cutco as a product and whether or not people can afford it.
Right.
If they don't get that fear bubble popped, what's going to happen is they're going to be nervous about the actual demo itself and getting to the price point. And so when they're doing the close, they are going to be nervous. Even if they're reading it word for word, they're going to be uncomfortable. Now think about, Kayla, if you're going on a first date with somebody and you're really excited about the first date, you're just like ready to go and like having a good time, but you show up and he is so nervous the entire time. How does that make you feel?
Uncomfortable.
Yeah. So it's the exact same situation where, you know, Aunt Mary might be excited to see her little nephew Jimmy coming over and showing her knives, and like she's excited. But if nephew Jimmy is like so uncomfortable in saying the price, then Aunt Mary's going to start being like, well, if he's really uncomfortable, then like I'm kind of uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm not going to hit, like, you know, it's just a spiral. So it's really important that you help them understand the value of Cutco. So I'm going to give you, I'm going to actually record it today. I'm going to role play a thing to add into your demo or add into your training after you go over the price of Cutco with people. So I'm going to give you like the basic understanding of it now, but then keep an eye out for the video that I post on the page.
Okay.
But essentially what you do is you're comparing Cutco to AirPods.
Okay.
Okay. So after you go over the price, you say, all right, guys, I want to have a quick conversation with all of you about pricing, because I know when I sat in training and I heard the knives were $1,200, I was like, holy shit, like that's a lot of money. And I'm not, like, I would never buy knives for $1,200, but I was also 18 at the time. And like, if I were to have $1,200 in my hand, I would feel like I was like so wealthy.
Right.
That's how I was at 18 years old. Like my perception was very different than that of my customers. So I wanted to help you all understand that and what that actually means. So by a show of hands, how many of you or your friends own AirPods? Raise your hand. Now, Kayla, how many do you think will raise their hand?
The majority of them.
Yeah, right. Okay. And then you say, all right, cool. So how much are AirPods? They're like $175.
I was going to say 169 or something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Like $175 once you include tax. So on the whiteboard, you write AirPods $175. And you say, okay, great. So why do people buy AirPods? Like, what is it about AirPods that make people want to purchase them? Because let me ask you this question before we even dive into that. Can people buy headphones other places?
Yes.
Can they spend a lot less money on headphones other places?
Yes.
Definitely. But people still buy AirPods. I see them everywhere. Why do people buy AirPods? And people will start saying, oh, because they trust Apple. So brand recognition. They work really well, you know, good product. They're functional, perfect. They're cool, perfect. People use them every day, so it's easy to justify the expense. So you're basically writing down all of these different things on the whiteboard.
Okay.
Then you say, okay, great. So $175 for headphones. So that's a hefty price for headphones, right? But when you go through all of these reasons why, it kind of makes sense. Now, let me ask you all this question. How much money do you think the average 18-year-old makes per year? And some people might say like $2,000. Others might say like $5,000. So you say, all right, so $2,000 is probably realistic if they're just working during the summertime. But if they're working all throughout school year, you know, juggling their work and classes, they're probably making around $5,000. So let's use $5,000 for this example. So, and then you write down on the whiteboard, average 18-year-old, $5,000. You say, okay, cool. So someone who makes $5,000 can easily justify buying AirPods. So let's just see for a second what percentage of income those AirPods are of this average 18-year-old. And you take 5,000 or 175 divided by 5,000. And the answer is 3.5%. You say, okay, great. So AirPods are 3.5% of this 18-year-old's yearly income. Now, is 3.5% a lot?
No.
No. Like if I were to give you $1 and ask you for 3.5 cents back, would you bat an eye? No.
What? No.
You'd be like, all right, well, here's a nickel because I don't have pennies. So like you'd give me 5% probably. Like you wouldn't even think twice about it. So just to reiterate, when you're buying AirPods, you're spending about 3.5% of your income if you're on the higher end of income. If you're making $2,000, it's even more than that. But yet, for all of these reasons, you can justify buying AirPods, right? So also take a look at Cutco. So why do people buy Cutco?
Quality.
So the point is, Kayla, you kind of want to make a juxtaposition between Cutco and AirPods. So quality, brand name they can trust. They use it every single day. It looks cool. It's functional. It makes things easier on them. The idea is to kind of juxtapose the two and show that Cutco and AirPods are very similar in that sense. Make sense? Are you following me so far?
That makes sense.
Okay, cool. You say, all right, great. So it seems like Cutco is pretty similar to Apple in all of these senses here. Now, let me ask you this question about AirPods. Is it possible to lose your AirPods?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of likely too because they're so small. Now, if you were to break one of your AirPods, what would Apple do?
You just go buy some new ones.
Yeah. Will they replace that one AirPod for free? No. Okay, cool. So knowing those two things, last question. Do you think it's possible that in the next 5 years, Apple might come out with an update that makes AirPods obsolete?
No.
You don't? Haven't they done that already with your charger and earphones?
Mm-hmm.
It might not be likely. I mean, 5 years isn't that long of a time, but it is possible because they've done it before. Now let's talk about Cutco for a quick second. Is it possible to lose your knives?
Yes.
But is it likely? I mean, they're sitting on the kitchen counter. They're stationary. They're not being brought from place to place to place. So is it likely they're going to lose their knives? No. And what happens if someone breaks one of their knives?
They just return it and
Cutco replaces it for free. Now, is it possible that Cutco is going to come up with some update that makes their knives obsolete? No, it's not possible. We've been around for 70 years, and that is just, that won't happen with knives. Now, again, I remember being in your shoes and looking at $1,200 and being like, oh my God, that's really expensive. But I'm not the average customer. The average customer is a working adult who cooks for their family, who entertains, who appreciates things in their kitchen. So after seeing all of these things and knowing what you know about Cutco with the forever guarantee and the brand name and the functionality of it and the fact that you use it every day, you think it's possible that your customers might be able to justify spending 3.5% of their income on Cutco? I mean,
yes.
Justify spending 3.5% of your income on AirPods, which we know you can lose easily. You can't get them fixed if they break for free and might become obsolete one day. I think it's possible that your customers might be able to justify spending 3.5% of their income on Cutco.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, does anyone know the average household income of a working family?
$60,000.
Roughly $62,000. So write down $60,000 on the whiteboard.
Okay.
All right, guys, I want you right now to take 3.5% of $62,000 and tell me what it is. And it's $2,170. So 3.5% of the average household income is $2,170. And how much is a homemaker again?
$1,273.
$1,273. So we're not even asking them to spend 3.5%. As a matter of fact, we're asking them to spend only 2%. of their income on Cutco. And in reality, we're not even asking them to spend all that much because we close on the homemaker, but our average order is $300. So we close on the homemaker, and yes, a lot of people will say yes to the homemaker sale or homemaker set, but there will also be a lot of people that say yes to the galley set and the studio set and the kitchenette set and a 3-piece special. So Cutco isn't expensive. But as an 18-year-old, it's easy to feel that way. So I hope through this example, you've seen that it's really important to realize when you're going into a demo that your perception of money is not that of your customer. And if you go in to the demo thinking that $1,200 is a lot and you're nervous about closing on the order, what's going to happen is that you're going to be so nervous that you make your customer nervous. It's the same thing as going on a first date. You might show up at a first date and you're feeling really good and really, really confident, and the person sitting across from you is shaking with nerves. How's that going to make you feel?
Uncomfortable.
Like, get me the heck out of here. So it's the exact same thing when you're walking in with your customer. You have to close with confidence in knowing that what you're asking is not that much, especially when you know how good the product is and what we stand for here. So does all that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Cool. So that is like a 10-minute little add-on that is really valuable to go over after you present the price of Cutco.
Okay.
Now, Kayla, I record all of these because we never know what kind of things can come up